When I first learned that I got to work with Eve's music, and there were a couple selections, and I listened through them, and this piece particularly just stood out to me as it was breathtaking, it was moving, it had weight, and yet it had freedom, and everything about the piece of music I loved. And so selecting that piece of music, and then getting the chance to get on Zoom and talk with Eve was fantastic, and to learn about its origins. And I don't want to ruin that story. That one's yours to tell.
I think there is something special going on in these days when we don't have the ordinary ways to meet new artists that we haven't met before. And so to have been sort of match made together in this way was actually such a lovely gift, right? Because we're all in these weird isolated places, and to sort of make a new friend, a new colleague in the midst of all this was itself this incredible gift that really felt like I will not be sad in this world, you know, which is the title of the piece.
I forgot exactly what you wrote in the score, but you wrote some beautiful language about wanting to embrace the kind of fragile nature of the flute and leaning into that. And I will say that, you know, with all that's going on in the world, it's easy to lean into that fragile place while expressing yourself. And then on top of that, when I recorded that piece, my alto flute was being held together by like paper clips and scotch tape.
Oh,
so not only was my spirit was needing to express itself and having, you know, struggles with the weight of the times in the world, but my instrument itself was being held together with, you know, scraps. And so it was a really, really, really meaningful and cool experience to kind of come from that place and play that music, your music. And so thank you for that.
The music comes on, and whether you're just still in, you know, in absolute stillness or moving, the music just sort of holds you, and it takes you with it. You know, I never felt like, you know, coming up with the steps for it that I had to try. Everything seemed very much presented to me, but not dictated, but like a gift, and a very generous gift. So.
wow.
Yeah, and the experience of playing the piece is it feels very sacred. That's just kind of how I describe the experience of playing it. You know, it's like I really wanted to kind of build a space and have like a chamber to resonate in with that piece and give it the space around it that it deserves in terms of just, I tried not to play it too much leading up to recording it actually, because I wanted it to have that kind of a feeling of sacred improvisation. So.
Yeah.
And that sorry, Eve, you had talked to me a little bit how the music, there's certain moments where the electronics and the flute do line up, but there's freedom in it to
Yes.
yeah. Sorry, and that also was really, I think, important for us dancing, knowing that, you know, it moves very much like water.
Yeah.
And there are, you can play with it and still be on it. You can still be with it if you hold back a little bit and then push forward, and which was just, I mean, really comforting.
Yeah.
As a dancer. That's very cool. So you're not counting it, you're feeling it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, originally we had hoped to do it all indoors. We filmed a few things at home and at various other outdoor locations around the state of Washington. And when this project started, we had music and all that, and I had finished the steps. At that time, we had access to the studio, and we thought, okay, we're going to have this fantastic opportunity. We're going to go into the studio and the rules at that time, we wouldn't have to wear masks because it would have just been the two of us. We were going to dance it, and it was going to be, feel like old times.
Like a whole piece on point.
Yeah.
Very balletic. Yeah.
Then very quickly the rules changed. Things went a little backwards.
We didn't have studio time anymore. And
there is a really nice outdoor performance space that we had never used before, and it was actually that very first image where it says the world adores you. It was written already on one of the pillars.
Awesome.
So it just felt like perfect.
We're like, okay,
this is where.
Awesome.
And so we had gotten the entire thing done, thinking, okay, it's all outside, and we got it. And then just recently, we were able to get access to the studio again, and we're like, okay, we have to at least try, piece it back together, put it back in point shoes and see how that works after so long. And we were able to get some what I think was really nice stuff.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, very much of this time for us as dancers, where it is, it's like, okay, we're back at work, but for how long? And, we keep flipping back and forth between homework and work. And yeah,
it really showcased our two realities right now, I think.
I mean, the West Coast already is far enough from the other great art hubs, and then even the separation between Seattle and San Francisco and LA, it feels pretty substantial, even though it's only a short flight. Seattle feels like a bubble. You're locked away by mountains and water, and it's been really fantastic to be connected into this project with artists from all over the country, and to pull that together, and something like that just wouldn't have happened in the past years that I've been out here in Seattle. It just wouldn't have happened. And I hope going forward, as the world finds this new normal and perhaps stabilizes, and old normal activities start to come back, and we can finally enter a theater again, and all of that fun stuff. I hope that these connections stay and continue to occur. And it's just funny how much can happen literally from just writing an email or a text or making a phone call and saying, do you want to work on this? And when we're stuck in our little bubbles, I feel like we think, oh, we have to operate in this area code.
I'm really grateful to you guys and to Kyle for your openness and your just lovely personhood, because that it's really important in these days for us to be able to make contact across these weird boxes that we're living in,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Except for me. Except for us. Justice for us has always been unjust. How are we supposed to put our trust in a country that doesn't make justice a must for us? But when we raise a fuss about what America needs to adjust for us, all we get is looks of disgust, as if we've given nothing to this country but hip-hop and dust. Let's discuss this exception of us. Black people. In this American case, justice applies to everyone except for my race. You all love the culture and get your own taste, but when our reality is put in your face, why won't you help make sure our origin isn't erased? Our ancestors spent 400 years being displaced and running a race that involves black people being chased, lynched, whipped, and defaced. Used to do all the work, but still treated as if they are waste. Used to do as much as they could until they either died or were sold and replaced. Excuse me, but my black body is not something that you can just copy and paste. Justice for us, black people, feels like a lost case. We're still waiting. We're still wanting. We're still wondering why there is even a debate as to why our black lives should equate and hold as much weight as the lives of the people that give us nothing but hate. We're still wondering why we have to show rage in order to initiate change to the policies that America procrastinates to update. We're still wondering how people expect us to put our fate in a president who dictates and says this is all to reinstate something great again. As if fighting to stay alive wasn't enough, now people want us to translate our feelings, appreciate condolences, reiterate history, educate on what to do. And if it's not too much to ask, de-escalate the riots and protests that allow our voices to resonate and irritate the American system. We're still wondering how we're expected to tolerate and operate in a country that just wants to dominate and obliterate us, black people. We're still wondering why all of a sudden people want to step up to the plate, try to relate, and collaborate, when we know most are just here to decorate. I can't breathe. A hashtag. A solid black photo. Another Tuesday post. Happy Juneteenth. A text I'm going to send to all my black friends to let them know I understand that I will never understand. We don't need you to imitate. We need you to advocate. We need you to indicate the problem, reevaluate your privilege, generate conversations, elevate black voices, donate to our foundations, and help activate change. Racist officers killing our black population in altercations that should have never resulted in the elimination of a black body, just trying to live in this nation. A nation of false emancipation. A nation of modern segregation. A nation of overdue reparations. A nation that was never meant for black representation. Don't run from uncomfortable information about how your ancestors ran the plantations that kept us from liberation, abbreviation, slavery. Probably the only history you can recall learning about us. Black people. However, we are more than what America can recall. And even with your knee on our necks and our backs against the wall, we won't stop fighting for liberty and justice for all. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave.
the work that I've been doing in COVID has really been around facilitating conversations or just making space for people to be honest, to share their art, to talk about how spirituality and dance come together, what it means for cultural dances to make their ways into institutions and things like that. So as far as facilitating conversation and leading and doing arts admin, those are the projects that I want to take on in the future. So I've been kind of doing smaller scale versions of that in COVID.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Except for me.
When you told me about the project and said that I was free to do anything I want to, I did not know what I was going to do. Something made me just want to write. I've always liked poetry and stuff, and always wanted to try to explore what that would be to write something for a piece. And I decided to take this as an opportunity to just branch out and do exactly that and write a poem. And at first I started to get defeated, and I was like, I don't know if this sounds good. I was like, maybe I should just look up another poem. I was looking up poems I like Maya Angelou and just other people, because I was like, I don't know if this is my place to write something. Maybe I should just stick to choreographing and editing and stuff. And I read out my poem to my friend Rachel first, and she was like, Jakevis, this is so good. I love this. I was like, really? And so then I read it out to my mom, and my mom loved it. And I was like, okay. I was like, so then I'm going to do the poem. So I talked to Maya about it, and I read out the poem to her, and she was like, I love this. I was like, she was so on board. She was like, okay, let's get started. I was like, okay.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me.
And then I always had the idea of Maya singing at the end, because when I came last summer to Traverse City and I met Maya, and her voice, it's amazing. It's out of this world. So of course we were going to utilize that. Me and Amaria, we got together in my room and started making up choreography for the poem. I had ideas in my head of how I wanted the camera to move. I wanted to be as if the audience was there and there was no front. So therefore I didn't want the camera just to stay in front of us the whole entire time. I knew I wanted it to go around and face different ways and just lose a sense of front in general. I really am so happy to work with Justin and Adam, because sometimes I literally just say, can y'all just let the camera move? I don't really have anything specific that I want here. I just know I want it to continue to flow around, or I might say I just want to do a 360, or maybe just turn it 180 here and take it on your own, however you want to do it. And they do it, and they do it perfectly. And I'm just like, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking about, without me giving any specifics. Since everything is so empty now, I think this is a perfect time for not only me, but any artist or people who just love visuals or making videos and concepts. This is the perfect time to go out and use these places that are open and have no one around. Social distancely, of course, but it's just the perfect time, because no one's worried about you filming here because the place is crowded, or you using the facility because there's too many people because there's no one out. So yeah, we took advantage of that, and we all met on set day, and we made some amazing material. It all worked out, and I was so happy with the ending product. It turned out so much better than I thought.
We're still wondering how we're expected to tolerate and operate in a country that just wants to dominate and obliterate us, Black people.
I think we complement each other really well, because Jakevis always has the vision already in front of him. If he doesn't have the exact steps in front of him, he already has the vision. So it's super easy to compliment him, because a lot of times I don't have a vision, and I enjoy improv. So I'm like, here, we can just improv or give a little group here. And he knows the vision already. So when we come together, it's just like, it works. The last couple of videos that he did, he would like come in my room and be like, God just gave me a vision, let's do this. And it's so easy just to fall right into it because I've worked with him in larger group pieces, I've worked with him with duets. And because his vision is so clear, there's no pressure for me, I feel like, to contribute in a certain way because his visions are already so clear. Most of these pieces have been just our personalities. And we complement each other as friends too, so.
I just was not fearful at all about saying what I wanted to say. I feel like in times like this, you can't sugarcoat anything because that's what's going to send us into the cycle again. That's what's gonna contribute to starting this repetition of injustice, police brutality, racism, because history just repeats itself. And if we just keep doing the same thing over and over again and not really getting to the point of what we're trying to say, then it's just gonna happen again. So no, I was not fearful about saying what was on my mind. We have to be blunt. We have to say what's going on. We have to make it clear, no matter if it's like gruesome, no matter if it's makes people uncomfortable, no matter if it's something that people just don't want to talk about. It has to be our voices have to be put at the front of the room. And this is the best opportunity and time for that to happen. And I'm sure if anyone else had an opportunity to have their voice put at the front of the room, they're going to take it and they're going to use it and they're going to make it as loud as possible and they're going to say what they have on their mind, because you don't know when that opportunity is going to die down, when your movement or the fight for your life isn't trending anymore, which is what's happening right now. So as it's coming down, you want to do whatever you can to go ahead and be as loud as you can and get out your last words, because they might be your last words that you say. So no, I was not fearful at all with saying what I needed to. And I'm happy that it came out the way it did.
And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in